Every time peace talks begin about Ukraine's future, non-negotiable issues are sure to appear, making peace seem far away. Meanwhile, the vastly superior Russian forces are pounding Ukraine with missiles and drones every night. Last month, Vladimir Putin tried to claim that Russia is hitting only military targets.
Удар был не по жилым кварталам, а по объектам оборонно-промышленного комплекса. По заводам, которые производят военную технику.
That statement is demonstrably false. Video clearly shows Russian drones hitting civilian targets. Kira Rudik is a Ukrainian member of parliament.
They have attacked a multi-story building right near where I live, and I have witnessed it. I can assure you that there is nothing military nowhere around where I live.
What will it take to overcome obstacles and kickstart the process? There have been several sessions of peace negotiations, mostly at the insistence of Donald Trump. Some face-to-face, some through American mediators. The U.S. has been seen to put heavy pressure to compromise on the Ukrainian side, with less pressure on the Russian side. In 2014, Russia seized the Crimean Peninsula, and then in 2022, most but not all of Ukraine's 4 easternmost provinces, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Russian President Vladimir Putin has made a great show of claiming those territories as part of Russia, including them in a revised constitution, and has demanded that the world should recognize his new borders.
Да здравствует Россия!
To get a Russian perspective on the negotiations, we contacted Dmitry Trenin, a member of Russia's Foreign and Defense Policy Council, who spoke to us from Moscow.
Territory is part of the resolution from the Russian perspective, and as we know, not only Crimea and Sevastopol, the chief naval base on the peninsula, but 4 other regions of Ukraine, southeastern Ukraine, are now constitutionally part of Russia. So it's unimaginable to me to think of Russia giving up what it considers to be its constitutional territory.
They have made this completely illegal move in adding our territories that didn't belong to them into their constitution. They are acting as an empire, and then they are trying to make it everybody else's problem.
American Ian Bremmer of the Eurasia Group thinks Ukraine will not legally recognize the Russian-held territory, but will accept the reality on the ground.
The Ukrainians, with NATO support, do not have the military capacity in the foreseeable future to retake that territory. And so I think there is a recognition that a ceasefire is going to have to accept some freezing in reality of the present front lines of territory.
One contentious point in the negotiations is the military status of Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. The Russians seem to want Ukraine largely disarmed for the constant supply of Western weapons to stop. They want a written pledge that Ukraine will never be allowed to join NATO. Meanwhile, the Europeans, especially France and the UK, have said that they are planning to deploy peacekeepers to Ukraine to help defend the country after a ceasefire.
The UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal.
In his February Oval Office meeting with Emmanuel Macron, Trump claimed that Putin would accept European peacekeepers.
Yeah, he will accept that. I've asked him that question. You don't tell me?
But Russia immediately denied Trump's claim.
The Russians want it to be largely demilitarized. The West finds that completely unacceptable because they believe that Ukraine needs to be able to defend itself, or else nothing would prevent the Russians from taking that territory.
Are there terms under which Russia will accept peacekeepers?
No, certainly not European peacekeepers. Russia sees European countries as, today, I would say, as the near enemies. Russia is almost virtually at war with European nations. So Europe is a worse enemy today than the United States. And no, there's absolutely no tolerance in Russia for any Western forces in Ukraine as part of the deal, as part of the peace settlement.
Russia is living in the reality when one country, for some reason, again, can dictate to another country what it can do and cannot do. Again, I'm sorry. We are living in the 21st century when Russia has no say about its neighbors.
So with the Ukraine-Russia peace negotiations at a very difficult stage, what could a peace deal look like if a ceasefire could be reached?
Well, from the Russian standpoint, it would have to accept the realities on the ground, as the Russian leadership has been saying. It would have to have a neutral Ukraine, neutral in all respects.
If there's a peace deal, what would it look like in your view?
Interestingly, I don't think the territory is the biggest sticking point. I think the reality is that Ukraine won't accept that the occupied territory is Russian, but they recognize the reality that they can't do anything about it. So that can be fudged, that can be kicked down the road. But what is necessary is for Ukraine to have sovereignty and the ability to secure their own territorial integrity going forward.
While dragging out the peace negotiations, Russia is amassing troops on the northeast border of Ukraine, preparing a summer offensive towards the Ukrainian city of Sumy. President Putin has said his troops are ready to crush Ukraine. Do you see a peace deal as something that's likely?
I don't see it as likely this year. I think that the outcome of the war will be decided by what happens on the battlefield through the end of this year and maybe next year. But I do not see it coming in the next many months.
I agree with that. The Russians want to see if Trump is going to blink, if he's going to lose interest, if he's going to turn away from Ukraine in the next year, or if he's going to continue providing intelligence and allowing arms sales to the Ukrainians.
We do not see any time frame because Ukraine was never saying that the peace agreement is possible. This illusion that you can talk to Russia or that Putin respects Trump came from the new administration. If you ask us, we would tell you Russia doesn't want peace. If they wanted peace, they would stop attacking us.
In late June, President Putin decided to weigh in on the peace negotiations at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. His comments were even more strident than previously.
Вы сказали по поводу областей на Украине, которые мы считаем своими. Да, я уже много раз говорил, что считаю русский и украинский народ одним народом на самом деле. В этом смысле вся Украина наша.
This week, the United States stopped providing Patriot missile interceptors to Ukraine, and future U.S. weapons deliveries are in doubt because President Trump continues to make positive comments about Vladimir Putin.
Putin speaks to me. He doesn't speak to anybody else. He doesn't want to talk because he was very insulted when he got thrown out of the G8. As I would be, as you would be, as anybody would be. He was very insulted, and I agree with him.
The international support is changing. Where the United States cannot continue to be our main ally and the leader of the democratic world. So we have to rely on our European allies and on Canada more in getting the support. Inside the country, people are exhausted. This is true. However, we are in a much better situation than we were in 2022. We did not capitulate then, and we do not intend to capitulate right now.
On Thursday, after Vladimir Putin's call with Donald Trump, the Kremlin announced that the attack on Ukraine would not be suspended until Russia's original war objectives are achieved. Last night saw a new daily record of Russian drone attacks on Ukraine, 539. The Associated Press reported that the total number of Russian drones launched against Ukraine in the month of June was 5,438.